You are listening to the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. I'm so freaking excited about today because today is all about productivity. I've been getting a lot of questions about how do you get so much done in little time. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how to maximize the amount of time you're spending on work and actually take it a step further and make it so you're working less and getting more done. That is what today is truly about. My name is Brad Bizjak. I'm a mindset coach and inspirational speaker, and for the last 3 years, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and home-based business owners and help people just like you shatter the limiting beliefs holding you back from building success and help you get over all the self-doubt and negative self-talk that's holding you back from the life of your dreams so you can create the life that you truly deserve. This is the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast, and I'm so excited about today because I have a super special treat for you that I've never offered before. I surveyed hundreds of customers, and the number one thing that they said was they needed something about how to get yourself to do the crap that you know you need to do. How do you actually get yourself to do it? So I created a completely free online course that'll teach you how to turn on that consistency and turn consistency into a habit. Imagine 7 days minimum of just unlimited consistency. What could you get done if you turn it into a habit? And then 21 days and then longer. What if you could get out of your own way and move your business 2 steps forward without taking 2 steps back? This course is going to teach you how to do the things that you know you need to do, but for some reason don't do them. It is yours 100% free. It's linked up right below this episode. Make sure you download or gain access to that. Once you submit your name and email, you'll automatically be given that in your course library at bradbizjak.com. All the how to set up an account and all that stuff is in there as well. But it is yours for free. It is a game changer, so make sure you download that right now. So I want to go into today just the biggest habits I have with productivity. The things that have helped set me apart in a way where I get so much done in such a short period of time, where I'm doing more in a week than I used to do in 2 months, or I'm doing more in a day than I used to do in an entire week. That's what we're going to cover today. And it's so much simpler. A lot of times people think that they need a better tracking software, or they need to everything to go right in their day in order to do things like that, in order to have a productive day. It's not true. What I'm going to share with you are some pitfalls that people fall into and how to break through them. So let's get into it with point number 1. Point number 1 is really, really simple. Ditch your to-do list. And you look at me like I'm crazy, right? Ditch your to-do list. You might be going, no, Brad, I need a list. Well, if that were true, then why are you listening to something about how to be more productive? Right? If you're not feeling productive from your to-do list, there's a reason. Have you ever completed your entire to-do list and still felt like you didn't get things done? Or how many of you have completed your to-do list and then been stressed out that you got to do it the next day? Have you ever added something to your to-do list that you've already done just to feel successful? You do not need a to-do list. A to-do list is a waste of time without direction. Write that down. A to-do list is a waste of time without direction. They're limiting you if you do them the way that most people do them. I'm going to share with you how I do my list in just a little bit. I'm not saying that we don't have a list of things we need to get done. I'm saying that if you just write all the shit you need to get done on a piece of paper, you are severely hurting your results. Because how many of you have you ever focused on like just getting 1 or 2 things done for the day, and when you get those 2 things done, it doesn't even matter if there's more things on your list, you still feel fulfilled? Want to know why that is? It's because you focus on what was actually important instead of what was urgent and demanded. When you focus on what's actually important instead of what's urgent and demanded, all of a sudden you feel alive and you feel fulfilled and you feel progress towards your dreams. And just like Tony Robbins says, progress equals happiness. Progress equals happiness. So how do I do that? Number 1, I kind of talked about this in a previous podcast episode a couple months ago. I'm going to go more in depth today. The first thing I do is I ask myself every single day, you can see it at the very top of my list right there. If you're watching this video, if you're not watching this video, what I have at the top of, you're listening to the audio, what I have at the top of my sheet every day is today's outcome. Today's outcome. And this is where most people go wrong. They just shoot random arrows every direction hoping to magically hit a target. But when you have a target, you have something to aim after. So what I challenge you to do every day when you start your day is simply ask, what is the most important outcome I want from today? I want to sign 1 new customer today. I want to get 12 podcast episodes recorded today. What's the number 1 outcome you want from the day? And the reason for that is because then all of your energy aligns with that 1, 2, or 3 things that are actually important to you that will make you feel a sense of momentum. Does that make sense? You need to pick an outcome first. The very first thing when you start your productive workday, what is the outcome I want from today? Number two, this might be number three, but number two is give yourself a reason. Remind yourself of your why. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is a long one, but you need to have a compelling reason behind why you're doing what you do. Otherwise, you're not going to go after your big dreams. You need to have something that's going to move you to act, because reasons come first, answers are what comes second. You need a reason. If I give this example all the time, but if, let's say, I were to give you $20 to walk across a 2x4. Say, hey, the 2x4 is laying on the ground, here's $20, go walk across it. Would you do it? Yeah, you'd do it in a second. What if that 2x4 was between 2,000-foot tall buildings? And I said, here's $20, go walk across that 2x4. Would you do it? Absolutely not. Unless you're crazy, you wouldn't do it. But what if you were on one building and the other building was on fire and your kid was inside, and the only way to get across that building is by that 2x4? Would you do it then? In a second. You wouldn't even need $20. You do it in a second. Why? Because reasons come first, answers come second. So you need a compelling reason. Every day I remind myself of what my reason is for what I do. Every single day. After I pick my outcome, that's going to give me the juice to go after my compelling future. Number three, what I do then is I list out, this is what most people do, I just list out everything that's on my mind that will get me to those goals. Here's why it's different. Most people list out everything they need to do. I list out everything I need to do to get me to that outcome. Everything I need to do to get me to that outcome. If it doesn't get me to that outcome, it is not on my list. It is not on my list. It's saved for another time. It's scheduled in my calendar somewhere, but it's not on my list. And so I focus on what are all the things on my list that will get me to that specific outcome. And I write all of them down. There's probably a ton of them, right, that you write down. But here's where it gets different. What I want you then to do is to circle the top 5 to 10% of those things. What are the top 5 to 10% of those activities that will make the biggest difference in getting to that outcome? And typically the things that you circle are the things that you're trying to avoid the most when you're just doing your normal to-do list. They're the things that actually make you face your fear. And once you circle those things, then you have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever things that are super, super important. You have your prioritized things. Then you're going to prioritize that list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is. And now you only have a short number of tasks on your list. They're in priority order of what will actually get you to your dreams. And then you're going to start with number 1. You're going to start with number 1, and you're just going to go all out with number 1. And it's so important that you do this. It's the thing that you're probably fearing the most, but it's the most important thing that you do. Because here's what most people do, and this is a huge mistake in productivity. Most people will look at their list and they'll check off all the little things just to feel a sense of progress in their day, to get it out of the way, to not clear their head. Massive mistake. Massive mistake in my opinion. And the reason is because when you do it that way, you still have in the back of your mind a feeling of guilt for not doing the thing that matters the most. So you end up further along in your day, and by the time you get to the thing that actually matters, you're already drained, because those things that weren't actually important drained your energy. But what happens when you focus on the number 1 most important thing first? When you focus on the number 1 most important thing first, and you do that with everything you possibly can, what does it do to your energy? Does it increase or decrease it? It increases it. You feel proud of yourself when you do that. You feel alive when you do that. It makes you feel amazing. And so you get it done with more energy, more excellence, and you get it done faster because it's the first thing you do. Then, when you get to number 2, you have more energy than you did when you started because you're proud of yourself. And it keeps going down the line. You get so much more done in one day than you used to do it in an entire week. The game will change when you do this. It is such a game changer. Then I take it a step further. When I take a look at my number 1 most important thing, I give myself a timer. And I ask myself, how much time do I realistically think that this will take for me to do? And let's say it takes me an hour for a task, realistically. Well, I hate the word realism. I hate the word realism. Will Smith said, realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. It's a Will Smith quote. And so I've always just felt like realism, screw it. And so I cut the time in half. I use what Darren Hardy calls success compression. And so I give myself 30 minutes for a 1-hour task. Now, perfectionists in the room, before you freak out about this, the whole goal of this is not to get it done in 30 minutes. The whole goal of this is to use what's called Parkinson's Law or success compression to fill that time, to get it done faster, because you will get done what you need to get done in the allotted amount of time that you give it. This is why you're so productive before vacation. It's because you need to get things done. It's why you cram for a test and you actually do well with it. It's because you need to. You need to find a way to do it. So we use that to our benefit here. We cut the time in half. Let me ask you a question. Even if you don't get it done in 30 minutes, if you get it done in 37 minutes, is that better than getting it done in an hour? Of course it is. It's way better than getting it done in an hour, right? And so you do that with each task go forward. That is how I run my entire day. I run my entire day that way. And sometimes I get backtracked and sidetracked from that. And I notice on the days that I'm sidetracked from that system, that is called an RPM plan. When I get sidetracked from that, what I notice is I'm working longer hours, I'm more stressed out, I'm more worried, I'm less fulfilled. That's not a fun place to be. But when I do this, the game changes instantly and it feels so much better. And I use what Tony Robbins calls the ultimate success formula. Because when you're taking massive action on your dreams, if it's not working, do you keep doing it? No. You got to change your approach. Tony Robbins' ultimate success formula says, number one, know what your outcome is. Number two, take massive action towards that outcome. Number three, notice the results that you're getting. He calls it sensory acuity. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, what is that? That's insanity. It's insanity. So you need sensory acuity. You need to notice what results you're actually getting from your action. And if it's not working, what do? Number four is you change your approach. Number four in the ultimate success formula, change your approach. You try something different. And you try that and you do it consistently enough to see if it's working. And if that doesn't work, what do? You change your approach again. And if that doesn't work, what do? You change your approach again. And if that doesn't work, what do? You change your approach again. When I was starting Appreciation Academy, I noticed that the first 10 months of trying to get off the ground, it did nothing. It did nothing. No one was signing up for it. And I was so stressed out and worried about that, but I used the ultimate success formula. I kept trying new things until I got to my dreams, until I got to my goals. And it ultimately led to doing $50,000 in sales in 10 days. From switching my approach so many times until I got what I wanted. That is the power of using Tony Robbins' ultimate success formula and using his RPM plan that I took you through today. Does that make sense? So that's what an RPM plan is. That's how I run every single day. But what I also do in productivity that helps a ton is I batch things. So my one-on-one clients will be able to attest to this. I have my one-on-one coaching calls on specific days of the week. So I can laser focus in on only that on those days. I record my podcast episodes for the month on a specific day and I batch it all together because when I'm laser focusing in on one thing, I don't go through task switching. When people go through task switching, you can Google task switching on Google. It will show you, I don't know the actual stat, but it's something like up to 80% of productive time is lost if you consistently switch tasks. But if you do just one thing and do it really well on one day and just laser focus on that one thing, you will absolutely crush it. Then the next day, laser focus on that one important thing. Maybe one day is your correspondence with your prospects. You're inviting, you're following up, you're meeting new people. Maybe the next day is support of your customers. Maybe the next day you need to invite and have correspondence with your prospects again. Maybe the next day is something else in your business. But you need to make sure and batch yourself. When you batch yourself and chunk the time, it becomes so much easier. One other tip that I have for you, when it comes to scheduling things, here's what I used to do. I used to list out on my schedule all the tasks I was going to do. 9 a.m., invite. 9:45 a.m., follow up. 10:15 a.m., make sure to meet new people and add to my list. 10:30 a.m., work out. I used to do all these things. I had a million things on my calendar for the day. That will lead you into a state of massive overwhelm. What you want to do is you want to chunk that down. So instead of it being 9, 9:45, 10:15, 10:30, these things, what I did is I would just block off the entire calendar from 9 until 10:30 and I say, this is prospecting time. I label it as one thing. When your brain can handle like up to 3 things, right? That's all it can do. And so I label it as one thing. It is prospecting time. It is list building time. It is health and wellness time, whatever it is. But you batch it as one thing. So when your brain looks at your calendar, you're not overwhelmed by it. and it changes how you view your calendar, and you'll feel so much more momentum that way. Those are my tips with productivity, but there's a couple other things that I personally do that massively help with productivity. Massively. And it comes down to taking care of your health. By far the most important piece of productivity is natural energy. Natural energy. When you have natural energy, you are so much more creative, you're so much more alert, you think of things on the fly, you're in a better emotional state. So if you're not taking care of your health, you are actually slowing your business down. Significantly slowing your business down. So you have to be getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, taking care of your exercise, eating healthy. All things that are super, super important if you want to be super proactive and productive. Make sure you are doing that. And finally, the last bit of advice I have with productivity for you today in Productivity 101 is work less. Work less. You need to take time to unplug. You need to take time away from your business. Easier said than done if you love your business, but you need to. Think about your prospects. When they see you working on your business 24/7, what does that teach them? It teaches them that they're going to have to work on something 24/7 to have success, and if they're already overwhelmed and busy in their life, is that going to inspire them or hurt them? It's going to hurt them. Working less not only inspires people more, but on top of that, you reignite and recharge your batteries. You feel more alive. You have so much more creativity when you take time for yourself and unplug. It is a game changer. Working less is the key to more freedom. I'm not saying you don't have to hustle. I'm not saying you don't have to do those things. I'm saying you need to take time to intentionally recharge your batteries. That is Productivity 101 in a nutshell. That is exactly what I do to get more done in a day than I used to do in a week, to get more done in a week than I used to do in 2 freaking months. And if you apply just 1, 2, or 3 of these things, you'll notice a massive shift in your life. So I hope you found value in this today. Don't forget to download the consistency course. Imagine so much productivity and consistency and momentum in your business. Imagine moving your business 2 steps forward without taking 2 steps back. Imagine getting yourself to do all the things that you know you need to do. This is an entirely free course for you. Entirely free. There is no strings attached to it whatsoever. Download it right now. It's right below this episode. And as always, if you're finding value in this, make sure you share this on your social media stories. Get it to other people. They need this. And if you'd be so kind, leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen. Leave us a rating and review. When we see your feedback, it helps us see that we're on the right track. It helps us reach more people, helps us touch more lives. So I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found value today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go out there today and every day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face. You're only one mindset shift away. I'll see you next week.